Hello and welcome back. This is Candace from Candoodle, and today I have an extra special card for you because it is my first light up card. I thought that I had lost this footage. It's from my boyfriend's birthday card like 3 years ago. So I'm so excited that I found it because now I can show it to you. So let's get started. So I'm starting off with an A2 piece of cardstock in 110 pounds, and I'm gonna blend a galaxy background. So I wanted this to be kind of blue and boyish, so I ended up using Salvaged Patina, Peacock Feathers, Chip Sapphire, and Black Soot. And you'll see I am not ink blending down towards the bottom because that is where my moon is going to go, that the aliens are going to stand on, and it's going to have my sentiment. So I knew I didn't need to ink blend that. You can see it there. I already stamped my sentiment. And then I'm going to come in and give that a spray with some water and then move on to my colored images. You can see which Copic colors I'm using on the left-hand side. I kind of used all very light greens and blues. I wanted things to look kind of glowy. And then the real glow is going to be the lights that are going to light up this card. And I apologize for the weird changes of exposure, things going very bright and then kind of dark. This is older footage, so I'm filming on my black mat that I used to film on. And that's why I stopped filming on it because I find it kind of changes the exposure very strangely. If you prefer this one, I can still film on it if you'd like, but I find that it did a weird thing that I didn't like too much. So you'll have to let me know if you like it more or less than my current videos. Anyways, back to the stamped images. For my spaceship, I did cut out two of those little lights because those are where two of my lights are going to go on the card, as well as the candle on the birthday cake. And now you can see all of my images laid out, and I'm going to come in with a pencil and mark where those spaces are because that's where my lights are going to go. And so I need them to shine through, which means I have to put little holes in my card. So I'm using a craft pick to just make those, and then I did reinforce them with a proper hole punch. And then I'm going to be able to use this as a template to put my holes on all the other layers. So here I am using a pencil and putting little marks where I need to cut through my foam. I only showed one foam here. I used two hole punches, and then the third one I did have to use my scissors because it was a bit far in. I did end up doing this on another piece of foam as well, and I'll show you why later on. And then I'm also going to use this as a template and put pencil marks on my card base because that is where I'm going to build my circuit. So this is the circuit kit that I found at Michael's actually. I found it at a Michael's in like a bigger city than where I live, and it has all of the pieces. It has the copper tape, four of the little watch batteries, and then a bunch of the little lights. So this is kind of a nice thing if you want to try this out, but maybe don't want to invest in one of those bigger kits to invest in it. So I thought that this was a good start, and newsflash, I'm obsessed with it. I think I'm going to make a lot more light up cards. So I took three of those little lights, and then I'm going to use the copper tape. And I actually found in other videos people cut it in half so that you can optimize it. It still totally works, and you actually don't need that much as long as everything is connected. So I will now have more copper tape. So I put a little spot where my battery is going to go, and I cut that in my foam tape. And then I'm taking a flap of just regular copy paper because you need to have one of those around your battery to connect the positive and the negative end. And then I'm just mapping out where my circuit is going to go. So to build the circuit, you need to have your positive end connected to each of your three elements, and then the negative end connected to each of the three elements as well, but not to each other. So that'll make sense as we go along. I glued down my little flap, and I'm going to start with the negative end. So I'm taking my copper tape and taking off the release paper. When I have to make a turn, I kind of fold it back on itself and then bring it forward, and I really smooth it down with my nail. You want to make sure it's very, very smooth. It's going to help your circuit to function better. So as you can see there, that's my negative circuit line. And now I'm going to come in and make my positive circuit line. And I'm going to put the three lights in the spots where those pencil marks are. So when I'm finishing my positive circuit, I'm going to come to the top of that flap, and then I'm going to bring it all the way around to the inside of that flap because that's where my battery is going to sit. So basically, when the battery is there, but the flap is not touching the battery, the lights are going to be off. When I put the battery in and push down, ta-da, the lights are on. Some people like to reinforce where the lights are by putting tape over top as well. I found the circuit worked and I didn't really need that, but you could if you wanted to. I hope that that makes sense and that you were able, between my description and seeing it, able to understand what that means. There's so many other videos on YouTube that probably explain it better. As you can see here, I came in with my second sheet of foam tape with the holes cut in it because that battery really needs a lot of space for the flap to be able to not touch the battery, or else your card is going to be always on if there's not enough space. So I figured it's better to give it more space and be safer, so it's not always on by accident and be harder to undo. So I glued that down, I glued down my moon, and then I'm going to come in and assemble all of my little elements. I put down the cake and my spaceship first to kind of make sure that my lights were in the right spot. And I'm always double checking by kind of pushing to make sure that I didn't cover them by accident. And then I'm just going to go ahead and build my little scene all around my very fun lights. And then there is a space on the bottom right hand side because I am going to add a little push here element just so it's clear to the recipient that this is a light up card. And I think that this ended up looking super, super cute and is such a fun touch. Of course, it takes a lot more effort and a little bit more of an investment to put the lights and the battery and all of that in, but I think it's definitely worth it, especially for those special people in your life who will appreciate it. So I came in with my push here element, and then that is the final card. I hope that you like this very interactive, kind of physics-based card. It took me back to grade 9 science when we learned how to make circuits, and we actually, I think, used the same copper tape. But I think that this card is just so fun, and I'm going to show you what it looks like in the dark. It doesn't capture as well on camera, but it is super, super fun, and those lights are quite bright too. Some people choose to put vellum underneath, but I thought it was fine without, but that would add an extra special glow. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in another video. Bye!